Hello and welcome to this tutorial on library resources for the School of Professional Development. If you're new to libraries or coming back to libraries, I'm going to try to give you an overview of how the Stony Brook libraries are laid out, some of the systems that you'll be using most often, ways to get to the content you need, ways to get help, and just overall give you a feeling that there is this place at Stony Brook called the libraries that is here to help you succeed in whatever program you're studying. And who am I? My name is Chris Kretz. I am the library liaison to the School of Professional Development. There's a number of liaisons in the library that work with different programs and kind of customize and do special training. So you can always reach out to me. That's your first line of defense. This is my email, my phone number. I have an office in the Central Reading Room, which is in the Melville Library on the West Campus if you are physically going to be here. If not, we can always contact each other online. We can do Zoom meetings, we can do chats, a lot of ways to get in touch. Virtual is the norm now, so again, keep that in mind as we go forward. To give you the lay of the land, the jumping off point for your research will be the library homepage, and this is what it looks like, library.stonybrook.edu. Just some quick tips. I talked about getting help. One thing you'll notice on a lot of our pages, there'll be an Ask Us button. I'm in the upper right-hand corner right now. It's on a number of different pages. Anytime you see that, it will, during scheduled hours, open a live chat box. You can start talking with someone. We can help send you links to articles. We can suggest things. So it's a great way to get an immediate response. If it's after hours, it will still open up and you can leave a message and we will follow up with you as soon as we can. So again, that is one avenue that will always be open to you for research. Again, if you are physically on the library, there are hours listed. There are events. A lot of them are virtual at the moment, a lot of workshops. So keep an eye. You might want to just go through this event list. If you click view all events, you'll see this pretty much the semester laid out. And there'll be Zoom registration that you can access through these pages. But we do workshops on things like how to format citations in APA or MLA, how to use EndNote, how to use our databases, how to formulate a search strategy. So I'm giving you an introduction today, but these workshops are designed to dive deeper. So take a look. These will all be online through Zoom. So find one that fits your schedule. If there's something there you don't see, you can email me. I'm in charge of trying to keep this up to date. So if there's a workshop that you would like to see that's not there, or just an additional more options in terms of the times, let me know and we'll definitely try to put that together for you. The other thing I want to show you right off the bat is the research guides area. So we're looking at the home page, this sort of first third, this gray box. You'll see this search a lot, search capital letters. So that's the interface that will connect you to the physical collection, the ebooks and everything. So you could search everything all at once. You could limit it to if you knew a specific book and you just wanted to see if we had that title in the collection. The research guides kind of consolidate a lot of that information based around a subject or a program. So I'm going to click on research guides. And you'll see they're listed by topic. And then also on the right-hand side, we have some for specific courses. So it's always a good idea as you start a course to take a look at the research guide section. Either there's a specific course, in some cases by name, or just going to the topic. And these research guides are basically smaller web pages that consolidate the information for that topic, where to start the research, what databases to use, that kind of quick access for you. I'm just going to show you to start off the SPD link because there is one specifically for the school. And if we go to that, it will link off to some side pages. But this is sort of a secondary homepage you can think of that will get you closer to your individual program. So again, you've got my contact information on the side here. You can email me, call me, all that good stuff. And these tabs will tell you different things about using the library for your research. So we'll go over find articles in a minute, finding books. As I'm recording this, it is September 2020. The physical collection, you can't go up and walk through the stacks and pull things out. If you're physically on campus, you can request books for pickup. So that would be something that if that's you're on campus, you can make use of. We have a lot of ebooks, so we'll talk about access to that as well. And so as we go through this, APA, as you're citing things, it's always a good idea to check any citation you found in a database against something you know is correct. So we link to a lot of sites that will give you correct examples and ways to cite things like YouTube videos and conference papers and things like that. Each program has its own little section. So if you're in the HEA program, you can look at this page and it'll be a little bit more targeted information. Same thing with EDL and HRM. Citations and plagiarism, we have links to places that talk about that, how to take good notes and how to make sure you're tracking your research and attributing things as you should. EndNote, if you're not familiar with EndNote, it is a piece of software, a program that you can download for free through Stony Brook. So it's usually a paid program, but since you're enrolled, you can go to the link to download EndNote. And it is a bibliographic citation manager. So I've got it installed on my laptop here, and we'll give it a second to open it. So I'll show you as we go through databases, you can download things into EndNote and manipulate them, annotate them. You can do a lot of things with it once you have it downloaded. The trick is that you have to install it on one computer. So you have to pick the computer that is sort of your home base, the one that you use most often, and that will eventually open up. So here we go. And I have a few citations already in there, but if you're just starting out or you're starting on a long paper or lit review, you might want to look into using EndNote to help manage a lot of those citations. And we do have workshops on EndNote, so keep an eye out for that. But to go back to our SPD research guide, again, we have all these different tabs that will tell you tips on searching and things like that. But a lot of the activity that you'll be finding you do is looking for scholarly research, and that usually takes the form of a peer-reviewed article. So just to recap that process, a researcher conducts an experiment or runs a project, does a survey, writes it up, submits it to a journal. That journal, if it's a peer-reviewed journal, will take the article and share it with a number of experts who will read it, offer comments, sort of vet it for the research process that they followed, make sure they didn't cut any corners, make sure it was all ethical. And then if it's approved, it will be published in that peer-reviewed journal, which will make it a peer-reviewed article. Now, these are all published, in the old days, it would be in a paper magazine or a journal. We do have copies in the library, but you don't really see it that way anymore. It's basically your access will be through our databases. So when you're starting a lit review or anything where you have to find articles on a topic, I'm going to go to this Find Articles tab in the research guide. And we're going to be using databases. So now you're entering the world of databases if you're not familiar with them. Databases are basically compilations of material. So we're talking mostly about scholarly articles, but we have databases of streaming movies. We have databases of visual images, databases of anatomical drawings. So a database can be any container, any collection of stuff that you can search consistently by itself. And you can also think of them as, there's a business model to this, think of them as premium cable channels. So you cannot just search Academic Search Complete without a password. So as a Stony Brook student, the library is paying for a lot of these subscriptions. Your net ID is the password. So think of it as, you can use our Netflix account to get to all this content. So I'm going to pick one. Each of these research guides will give you a targeted list of databases to start with, because we have over 400 of them, and each one will contain something different. They overlap in places, but using more than one is always a good strategy because it will broaden what you find. This Academic Search Complete, which you'll see mentioned on a few guides, is a good starter database because it covers a lot of different disciplines. So you can search humanities, you can search education, you can search psychology, and you'll usually find something that gets you started. Quick tip, whenever I go into a database, I look for the advanced search option. That just gives you more room to spread out and work with your topic. Because once you get into the database, the key to your success will be the way that you're searching. How are you describing your topic to the database? Because now you're talking to a search engine and it's going to look for the words that you type in. So the better you understand the topic, or the more precise you can be in what you want to find, the better chance that the results that you get will be on target and you're not wading through thousands of hits. So just give you a quick look at it. Let's do a search for mentorship. Now, it gets even trickier. Do you want to say mentors, mentorships? So you get into the language of it. There could be variations. I'll give you a quick tip. If you have a word like this where it could be mentors, mentoring, mentorship, there's a strategy called truncation. So basically find the root word and put an asterisk at the end. So now as I search mentor, I'm going to find any variation of that in this database. Now, one keyword in a box is really not a search strategy. So you have to think, what is it about mentorship that you're looking for? And let's say learning, let's say leadership theories. And again, your topics will vary. So a lot of it in the beginning is reading up on the topic through the textbook, through secondary readings, finding out what are the main phrases or the concepts in the field. So if I knew a learning leadership theory, I could put that in here. And say I wanted to limit it to mentoring in secondary education. So again, think of it, this is why these extra boxes are helpful. Think of all the levels of your topic, and the better you can explain each piece, the better our results will be. You can add boxes if you need to. The more you add, the more specific you're being, so you should be finding less, but sometimes you can be too specific, so just keep an eye on what you're finding and how it works. And just quickly, some other things you might want to do. I would not check off the full text. I'll show you how to find the full text in a second. But you do want to check off the scholarly peer reviewed. So anything we now search for should come up from a journal that's peer reviewed. We could play with the dates. I'm going to do that after I run the search. So we're searching right now and we're leaving these boxes blank. And basically it'll be looking in the abstract and the titles and a few key places for these words. But you could get very specific if you knew an author, if you knew the exact title of an article you needed to hunt down. There's a lot of different things you could search for using this dropdown. But let's just do this combination. Okay, now I mentioned you can be too specific. So let's say instead of leadership theories, I am just going to say motivation. And again, if I knew a theory, I could put it in, but the phrase leadership theories was not showing up in the literature, so that's something we could investigate. So say we're looking at how do you motivate, how can mentors motivate in the secondary education area. We found 20 with this combination. So if we change any of these words, we could tweak it and find a different set, hopefully. But now we're seeing results. We're seeing highlighted or bolded where our terms are showing up. So there are subjects that we could follow mentoring. We are seeing student adult. So that's one question in my search. Did I really say, did I mean mentoring of students or mentoring of teachers or mentoring of principals? So I could fine tune this and add the words principals or administration, just so the database knew I didn't mean mentoring of students. And so again, it comes back to knowing what is it that you're looking for. So I'm seeing, and the other thing I look for when I get results is, are there keywords I missed? So maybe I would go back in and put teachers, science. So maybe I'm looking at a specific field of mentoring and administration or teaching. So maybe, mentoring in the STEM fields, mentoring in the humanities. Again, when you first start research, your possibilities are endless. So a lot of it is defining where the guardrails are. What is it you want to look at, and what is it that you're going to skip over because it doesn't apply? You'll also see a lot of these will be full text. So if it's a full text article, you'll see a PDF. You can open up that right away. You could download it. You could email it to yourself. So that's your best hope, is that you get the full text link right away. Sometimes it will say check for full text, and it will run that article name against the other 429 databases that we have. If there is no link at all here, meaning that the database will tell you the citation, but it's not going to let you read this whole article, it's not a dead end. So you would take this citation information, so we know the authors, we know the publication date and all that information. If you go back to the library homepage, there is a link on the homepage for interlibrary loan, and you could click on that. You would log in with your net ID. You would fill out a request with all this information, the title, the article, the authors, the date, the page range, and we would borrow it from another library. In terms of articles, it's not really borrowing. We would get a digital copy. You could then, we'll send you a link. You could log in and download that article. So just to recap, you're searching a database, you will hopefully find a full text link for it right there. But if not, and it's an article you need, do an interlibrary loan for it. Factor in a week to 10 days. It usually comes much quicker, but we can't be sure. So again, the sooner you start doing your research and build in the time to follow up on the leads that you want to follow up on, that is going to stand you in good stead. One last quick thing about these databases, most of them will have, once you get to an article level, some kind of link that will help you cite this article. So in this database, it's a little golden icon on the side that says cite. Sometimes it says cite this or citation. So each database will be slightly different. But once you find it, you click on it and it will take this article and format it in most of the major styles. So you're more likely than not using APA, so you could download. If you're not using EndNote, you could copy and paste this. It is not 100% accurate. So if you read the fine print from this database, they're saying double check. Sometimes they'll miss, the capitalization will be wrong, or you'll find things out of order. So the research guide, I showed you that APA link, you would compare this citation to a correct citation and just make any adjustments. So it gets you a lot of the way there, but you do have to do some fine tuning and cleanup after that. So that's searching a database. It's a very quick one. We'll do some more in-depth tutorials on search strategies and things. And will be a tutorial on interlibrary loan and finding the full text when you know the citation, but not where to get it. But for this general introduction, just remember library.stonybrook.edu. Remember that there is a research guide. So if you click on the research guide section for the School of Professional Development, and if you click into that, that is your own personal homepage. It will take you to your different program levels, give you tips on searching and databases, give you my contact information. Again, if you need to follow up, please do, and ways to get EndNote and work on note-taking and citations and all that kind of thing. So, and also Google Scholar. There'll be a separate tutorial on how to integrate Google Scholar, but that can be a useful tool. We're not saying don't use it, but we're just going to show you some ways to make it a more effective part of your research. So that is a general introduction again to how the library works. If there's any questions, you can reach out to me. There are other tutorials in this series, but I just want to say welcome and good luck with the research.